resume or interview, any questions whatsoever that you have. An objective is important before you attend the workshop. So, any question that you have, please share it. Ashish, Tushar, Dhriti, Urvi, Monica, any questions that you have, please share. So we have a question from Monica, how we can prepare during this pandemic, like everything is in virtual mode and it's pretty difficult as compared to F2F mode. Okay. Monica, what particularly do you think is the struggle with respect to preparation?
Ma'am, it's like when we visit to the company premises, they observe anything like how you're walking, how your behavior is,
Hmm.
the way you are sitting. And in virtual mode, they are just focusing on your face only.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So the etiquettes have changed. What are those etiquettes? Okay. All right.
Yes.
Valid question. Others, your questions, please. I'm sure you are here because you have some question in your mind. No question is right or wrong. How do we have to give GDN interviews online? What are the do's and don'ts? Any prerequisites and advantages we can use in online mode of procedures? Absolutely. Every mode, every situation has its own set of pros and cons. We'll take that up, Ashish. Any other question? Tushar, Yash, Jatin, any questions that you have? Okay, so there are a few questions that people shared with us while they were registering also. I'll just read them out for you because we'll be discussing those. One was by a student from I am Indore, where he's asked, given that I have some experience in operations, what would be a good starting point for the preparation for final placements? Then there's another questions like you asked, what is the etiquette for this new norm? Then there is another question, what are the main skills that recruiter are looking for these days? What are the common mistakes which we can avoid? Um, then there is a student from XLRI who has asked some questions like the biggest failure in our lives, why we should not select you, etc. We all know the answers to these, but somehow we fumble or we are not able to structure our thoughts when it comes to answering these kind of questions. What would be a good way to do that? Then there's this question on how to approach applying off campus in NCR. Hmm. If I have nothing to say in a GD, what should I do? Okay. And what are the do's and don'ts of an interview? All right. So that's basically like that will sum up the discussion today evening. I would request you to keep your videos on. That will kind of make it an interaction. We are anyway a limited group. So let's discuss maximum things that we can today. So if possible, please keep your videos on and whenever necessary, unmute and speak. Is that okay? Everybody? I think you've gotten used to not keeping your videos on. Okay, all right. Hi, Subrat. I'm glad you could join us.
Yeah,
So,
good. Thank you. I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late because I was there in hospital for something beyond control. and I got few minutes late while returning. My apologies to everyone.
All right. So as long as you don't have fever, we are good to go. All right. So where do we start, Subrat? What do you suggest? You have the list of questions for today.
Right.
Where
No,
where do
that
you
see,
suggest?
we can go in two or three approaches, which is there. One approach is that obviously we can go question by question. The other approach is that we share something which we think are important, and then we take up questions. But let's do something different today.
Mm-hmm.
They say resume is something which is much more structured. An interview is something which is relatively lesser structured. So we will go with a mix of the two.
Okay.
So let's do it this way, that we start with sharing the basic tenets of a resume. And
Mm-hmm.
after that, as far as interview is concerned, we can make it a freewheeling conversation.
Okay. Let's do that then. All
Right.
right.
Yeah. So
So
over to you for the first bit.
hmm, okay. So for that, I think Urvi also has a questions. How can we make our resume stand out from others? Thank you for keeping your video on, Urvi. That helps. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a screen, and we're going to talk about 10 no's, 10 things yet that you do not do for your resume. What will help is that you keep your resume close, open it on your phone or laptop, wherever it is possible, so that you are absolutely able to see that this is something that I need to take out. Another word of caution before we do that is every campus has its own format. So while you are on campus, it is absolutely necessary that you follow that format, and because that's what recruiter also wants, because that helps them screen, because they know what piece of information they will be finding where it is going to be positioned on that piece of paper. However, when we go offline, the rule does not apply, and that's when I highly recommend that you do the necessary modifications based on our discussion today. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. One second. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about no's. First is a lot of resumes that we receive when we are recruiting are around, they have the first section as objective statements, career statements, or however you want to put it, where you want to tell why I am here. There is an alternate heading to this section, which is not exactly an alternate, but there is this section which is called a summary or summary of experiences or summary statement on the top of a resume. This is not required. I'll tell you why. Unless and until you have 5 years of experience, please avoid writing summary statement, because that's a sheer waste of the space. You would not have something that needs to be summarized in terms of how much you have seen in your life. So that goes out. In terms of your career objective statement or objective statement, the problem here is when 100 students write this statement, it is very difficult to actually make something out of that statement. So I am looking forward to join on a challenging assignment, or to join for a challenging position at a good company. Now, this is something that I see a lot. Now, if I write it, Subrat writes it, Urvi writes it, Samita writes it, Dhriti writes it does not differentiate in the candidature of any of us. So once again, it's a waste. So unless and until your objective has something very specific to mention about your own application as an individual, no point writing it. Do not write it. So unless and until the format requires, I would seriously suggest that you actually avoid it. Don't go into that trap of writing it. A lot of resumes carry photograph. What we do is, at People Labs, we pick the formats of, let's say, top 50, top 60 business schools across world, and we see what are the industry best practices for MBA professionals when it comes to accepting resumes. Photograph is something which is quite common to put on a resume in India, but it's not true worldwide. So if you are applying off campus, you should keep the photograph out. Traditionally, we have also been writing address on the top of the resume. So it's like Prapti Aggarwal, house number 8, Bank Colony, Ambala City, blah, blah, blah. And then comes your phone number, email ID, etc. Address is something over time it has gone out. The problem with addresses now, the recruiter, if he wants to contact you, he will use your phone number, he will use your email ID. He does not need address or corresponding mail until very later stage of your actually joining the company. So address line is something that you can, that is where you can save the space and actually keep it out. It is not needed anymore. Next is references. How many of you have references on your resume? Anybody? Do you know what's a reference? Have you seen anywhere a reference on a resume? Anybody?
Yes, Prapti.
So what's a reference?
So when you are applying for a job and you
Hmm.
have somebody already working in the company, that's when
Hmm.
you make sure that you are writing the reference name on
Hmm.
the top of the
Okay.
CV. Yeah.
Okay. So a recruiter generally looks for कि मैं आपके credentials कहाँ से verify कर सकता हूँ कि आप अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं. So that is when a lot of people used to write references. But what the norm now is that once you are selected, the HR has, kindly has approved your candidature. He may explicitly ask for a reference, and that is when you provide reference. Otherwise, avoid writing it. You do not need to write it. Okay. So as of now, if you are in campus, if you are still undergoing the course, you would have logo on your resume, right? You do not need a logo if you are applying off campus. You don't need one. So that's out. Then another thing is a declaration and signature. I hereby declare that everything provided in this resume is true to the is best, is true and everything, right? You write that towards the end and then you sign it. You don't need that. That's out. That's an absolute no. We don't need that. It goes into a curriculum vitae a lot of times, but not in a resume. A resume is a lot shorter script of what you want to tell about your experiences. There is a strict no to more than one page. There is a strict no. You would not believe that guidelines say up to 10 years of experience, you need only one pager. Can you believe that? Just one page of a resume is all you need. So we have in India that it's very common for me to receive a 3 pager or a 2 pager. But all you need is a one page to summarize everything that you need to put across while you are applying for up to 10 years of experience. Let's discount that because we are in India. So if you have up to like say 7-8 years and you have a lot to say, you think मैंने तो इतना कुछ कर लिया है कि मुझे दिखाना ही है, तो फिर आप उसको 1.5-2 पेज तक लेकर जाएंगे. बट एट योर स्टेज, इफ यू डू नॉट हैव मोर देन 5-6 years of experience, it's a one page game only. Now you may have a question, 1 page में तो आएगा ही नहीं. ट्रस्ट मी, इतना कुछ नहीं किया है जो 1 page में नहीं आएगा, which is worth telling. So please, please, please avoid writing those 2 page resumes. Don't do that. It's an absolute turn off. In fact, I receive so many 2 pagers that when I receive a 1 page resume, it's actually, okay, let's read this one. So it has become like that. So you do not need 2 pages. more than 5 sections. I'll come to this later. I'll show you what this means. And no to small bullets. It may look like abhi tak jo baat kar rahe hain chota rakho, 1 page rakho, and now I'm talking about small bullets. Your bullets have to be, please write down, the ideal length of a bullet in your resume is 1.5 to 2 lines. So if you have your resume handy, you will see that you will have mostly half line, 1 line, 1.5 तो बहुत मुश्किल से होगा. So most of you would have 80% of your bullets up to 1 line. They say when you are constructing a bullet to actually impactfully communicate an experience, you need 1.5 to 2 lines. We'll see how that happens. Finally, this is most important. It just breaks our heart when we see additional information, hobbies, internet surfing. हमें Google करना बहुत अच्छा लगता है. Don't do that. Internet surfing is not a hobby. Please don't write that there. Just avoid writing it at all.
I have a question here.
Yes.
So, ma'am, while we were preparing our resumes and we had a section in hobbies, so one thing that it was written that learning from YouTube. So that was the thing that it was written. So can we mention that thing instead of this?
So learning from YouTube actually does not qualify as hobby. But I'll tell you how, if you have something you want to say, how do you put it across that it becomes worth reading? So we'll come to that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I need you to observe something here. This red section here. So don't go by the format right now. Is format ko ignore kar do. But these are the things that you should be writing in your headings. One is your name, then your phone number, your email ID, and your LinkedIn profile link only if it is complete. अगर LinkedIn प्रोफाइल अपडेटेड नहीं है या उसको रेगुलर चेक भी नहीं करते हो, उसका आपकी खुद की लाइफ में कोई सिग्निफिकेंस नहीं है, तो उसको छोड़ दो. Why LinkedIn profile became very important was because in some countries or for some industries, LinkedIn has, or for certain position, LinkedIn has become a go-to place to look for headhunters. So that is why people started mentioning their LinkedIn profiles. But if you're not very LinkedIn savvy, then you may keep it out also. So if you have an updated worth mentioning, कुछ impress करने लायक वहाँ पे कुछ लिखा हुआ है, active वो activity feed है, लोगों ने comment किया हुआ है, some professional recommendation is there, some professor recommendation is there. So you want people कि इस एक page में जो मैं नहीं दिखा पाया वो मेरे LinkedIn profile पर है, and you might like to go and check it out. That is when you mention your LinkedIn link. Otherwise there is no need. ठीक है? Okay. So this is what we were talking about, summary section, generally on the top. You don't need that. Okay. Okay. So here, remember we were talking about not more than 5 sections. So on your resume, you have like on the top, you have here you have your name, address and everything. And here are your sections A, B, C. These can be a combination of 4 or 5 headings based on your personal experience. Why I say this is, आपका academic section जो है at this stage of your career is a compulsion. This is something that you have to write. I'm sorry if you're leaving a message in the chat box. I currently cannot see it, so I'll take it up later. So this heading here is something, academics is something that you'll have to write. Everybody will need to write. Other than that, what other sections are going to be is something that you play with based on what you want to showcase. In case of MBA, if everybody here is an MBA, internships and life projects again becomes a section that you really want to keep. So after academics, you keep internships and life projects. If you have work experience, that comes before internships and life projects. For a recruiter, after your academics, he really wants to know what is your closest experience to corporate. So the closest experience that in that case becomes your work ex. So if you're someone who has 1 2 3 years of experience, academics, work ex, and then we come to internships and live projects, and then later here is a list of sections that you can choose from based on what you have. So it's not something that everybody should be having similar. जो मेरे लिए ट्रू है वो जतिन के लिए भी ट्रू हो, देवेंद्र के लिए भी ट्रू हो, आशीष के लिए भी ट्रू हो, ऐसा नहीं है. So somebody, let's say everybody had those 2 years of MBA, but Jatin chose to do a lot of certifications so that he has a 5 6 certification in his kitty, and that's what he wants to talk about. Meanwhile, I, on the other hand, chose to join a lot of clubs and committees in my college, and that is why positions of responsibility or leadership experience is something that I want to mention, but he in that case wants to mention certifications or technical skills. Is that okay? Make sense? So apart from academics and internships, other sections is something that you play with. If you want, you can take a screenshot, snapshot, and then decide which section is it that I'm going to keep on my resume. All right. Do we move forward? Or are you
Yes.
writing? Do we move forward?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's move. So Rajat, can we share our CV for more clarification? Yes, let's do that later though, depending on how we move through the session.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so this is when we talked about references. Here, this is something that you don't need. What I'm trying to do with references is, हम reference किस लिए लिखते हैं? Once again, that you can speak to these people for my work ethic if you need a verification check. You don't need that. So just keeping it out. Declaration, again, you don't need it. It goes out. Okay. We are coming to a very important part on your resume, which is actually going to talk about what you really did. We are going to the part where we talk about constructing bullets. When we are constructing bullets, I need you to keep 3 things in mind: specific, context, quantification. All right. These are the 3 things that will guide your bullet construction. Let's say you are on your education section and you want to write about what you did, your experience here. You need to carefully observe and see what are the changes that you can adopt for your own education section. So this is actually from my sister's resume. So here she writes, just observe here, runner up for third bullet here. Runner up for the best girl of college, a position accorded to an all-rounder student across all departments. What she's trying to do is, across all departments ka matlab hai, what she wants to say is, she's giving you a context. A context is a story, a background to your experience that makes it important, that makes it impactful, that makes it impressive. So probably having 70% is not an achievement, you would think, right? Why mention it? It's just 70%. But when she writes कि मैं 4 semesters में top 5 में थी with 70%, you realize probably where she did her MCom from, the university did whatever marks she got, she was still in a batch of XYZ number. She was amongst the top 5. Now that makes it an achievement. So that's where we are talking about context. Is that okay? Do you get the meaning of context here? Quantification, you see, wherever you can put numbers on your resume, it's a good thing to do. So when she writes, एक सब्जेक्ट में टॉप करना probably important नहीं है. She writes in a batch of 180 students I topped. What she is trying to do is she's giving a context also, and she is quantifying the impact. It could be कि मैं 20 बच्चों में ही टॉप किया, but I topped in 180 students, so that means something. My batch was large. Probably your MBA batch is of 60 or 180. For your stream it is 60. So when you write, let's say you did not top in the whole batch of, let's say, 240, 360, or whatever the number is, but you topped in marketing stream. So that's where specifics come into picture. Top marketing management in second semester in a batch of 60, comma, the marketing PGDM specialization batch of institute. You are making it specific. When you add proper nouns to your resume, you're adding specifics to your resume. So we have discussed specifics, we have discussed context, we have discussed quantification. Look here. This is additional information section. So if you have like one certification, one membership, one hobby, and not so much that you want to put it all together in a separate section, इतनी certifications नहीं है कि certification के ऊपर ही section बना दो, then you keep something called additional information. It could not fall in my internships, it could not fall in my life project, it could not fall in my academic projects or education. So जो बच गया है मैं उसका एक अलग section बना रहा हूँ, which is additional information. And this is where you start putting it all together. I want you to observe the format, because this comes to me a lot of times, of the third bullet here. When you want to say that you are a member of some committee, club, this is how you write it. You write member or that position, whatever that position is, secretary ho, member ho, lead ho, comma, the name of that organization, club, committee, group, interest group, semicolon, whatever your contribution, achievement, reward was there. This is a format. Based on what I have seen, this is so far the best way to write it. You could make a slight change. You could also, after member, write colon. Instead of a semicolon, member, colon, this organization, this club, this committee, semicolon, what you have done there. You can also, so like what she has done in the first is, she was part of NSS. So member, comma, NSS, then semicolon, whatever she has done through that journey is what she's writing. We're coming to your life projects experience section now. So probably most of you do not have work experience, but you may have internships. And when you are going to write the bullets there, make sure that you start your bullet with a verb in simple past tense. So implemented, performed, analyzed, researched, led, spearheaded. A simple Google search on strong action verbs for resume will give you all the material that you need. It's a rule to start your bullet with action verb. If it is something that is that you're currently doing, so it's a, let's say while I'm appearing for an interview and there is a live project that I'm doing with an organization, that action verb can start with an ing: pursuing, researching, assisting. But once that experience is complete, it becomes a ed, so you go to the simple past tense. Okay, is that okay? Now I want you to take a minute and carefully read through these bullets. Wherever I've underlined, these are specifications, these are quantifications, and these are contexts. One more format that B schools recommend. So this is recommended by Stanford, where they say when you are constructing a bullet, you can also think about situation, action, result format. सिचुएशन इज एसेंशियली कॉन्टेक्स्ट, किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में मैं ऑपरेट कर रहा था, मैंने क्या किया. अ बुलेट कैन नॉट बी आई वॉज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर. अ बुलेट हैज टू बी वॉट आई डिड. So it's situation, action, and from what I did, what was the result is that something that comes next. So if you see here, when they say BD part time, performed extensive financial modeling, pricing, forecasting, market research. Why I'm talking about this is because this is important for you. आपने इंटर्नशिप रिपोर्ट्स बनाई होंगी, उसमें आपने एनालिसिस किया होगा. आप क्या करोगे, आप बोलोगे एनालाइज्ड. इंस्टेड ऑफ डूइंग दैट, व्हाट दिस पर्सन हैज डन इज, दिस इज एन एमबीए रिज्यूमे एप्लीकेशन के टाइम पर. व्हाट दिस पर्सन डिड वाज, उसने उस टेक्निक का नाम लिखा है. लेट मी टेल यू, लेट मी क्वेश्चन यू, दिस इज ऑल्सो एन इन्विटेशन टू द रिक्रूटर, प्लीज आस्क मी अबाउट दिस. सो अगर नहीं पता है तो मत लिखना. लेकिन the rule is whatever you write on your resume, you should be absolutely thorough about it. Absolutely thorough. So what this person has done is very cleverly, he knew that everybody would write analyzed, he mentioned those techniques however simple they may be. Ratio analysis किया होगा आपने, अगर आप account से हो, अगर आप marketing से हो तो आपने probably BCG matrix बनाया होगा या growth matrix बनाया होगा. Whatever analysis, that jargon you can put here, that's called specifics. Proper nouns डाल रहे हो आप. Launched 12 new products in 52 tier 2 and 3 cities. This is quantification leading to 300% increase in top line. A lot of times, let's say if you're part of a small company, है ना, जिसका रेवेन्यू भी कम है, आप जब एब्सोल्यूट नंबर्स कोट करोगे तो वो इतना सिग्निफिकेंट नहीं लगेगा. लेकिन जब आप उसको परसेंटेज में कन्वर्ट कर दोगे तो वो सिग्निफिकेंट हो जाएगा. सो आई डोंट रियली नो कि ये 300% का एब्सोल्यूट नंबर्स क्या है, बट इट इज एब्सोल्युटली इंपॉर्टेंट दैट फ्रॉम वेयर एवर दिस पर्सन स्टार्टेड, द कंपनी सॉ 3% जंप, whatever that the number be. He could have started with 10,000, 1 lakh, 1 crore. You don't know. It is still a 300% jump. That's what is important. So percentages are important to bring out impact. Are we good to go forward? Do we move? Okay. We are open to questions now for resume. Wherever you have questions, there might be things that we may not have discussed, but what I tried to do was, given the time that we have, that I pick things that I see going wrong most often. Lastly, a spelling mistake on a resume never does good. I'll tell you why. When you apply off campus, your resume is your first window to a company. And jobs are considered something very important for a person who is applying for it. It kind of implies lack of seriousness when there is a formatting or spelling error on a resume. इंडेंट गलत है, बुलेट गलत जगह से स्टार्ट हो रहा है, मार्जिन्स गलत है, फॉन्ट, आई हैव सीन 3 fonts on a resume recently. Can you imagine? हेडिंग्स में अलग है, बुलेट्स में अलग है. So that kind of reflects that you are not serious about your application and it's an absolute turn off. So it does not hurt. एक बार खुद से पढ़ लो, एक बार दोस्त से पढ़वा लो, एक बार किसी और से पढ़वा लो, 3-4 बार. You must proofread your resume. Questions, anyone?
Ma'am, Samida here.
Yes, Samida.
I just wanted to ask you one thing as to like should we go in a tabular format for things like, let's say, academics? If I'm writing my academics, so should I follow a table or should it be more like a text format of giving my academic details?
Okay, good question. What I'll do is, let me just give me a minute. I have a few formats. What I did was we picked some from international B schools, global B schools, but I customized them for India. All right. So let's take a look.
Mhm.
Whatever you like, you can pick the portions from there. Okay.
Right.
Hmm. Give me- Hmm. One second. Okay. Can we mention our Udemy and Coursera certifications? Yes. Also depends on. You also would know कि हर कोई ये courses कर रहा है. So one is something that I think Subrat also wrote in his series on LinkedIn. I remember that he wrote proof or evidence on whatever you want to say is very important. Me saying that I've done an advanced course in Excel on Udemy or Coursera, and when asked a question I don't know about it, I have no clue, then it's no good writing it there. So, like I said before, whatever you write, every word you should be able to justify. You should be very thorough with what you are writing. So I'll tell you as of now the current state that these courses are in. It's not a USP. It does not become a USP. It kind of has become an essential tick on your resume, and it's an absolute no if you don't know the content of that course. So that's where we stand with respect to that these courses. All right. So just sharing the screen for formats. Hmm. Okay. So you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So where this is Stanford, right? So what they've done is this is the education section. One second, give me a second. So you see education section, you see experience. These are major sections. Internships and life projects and papers is something that if you have something like a BSc, you would have some publications that you would like to mention. This is for that. And then you have additional information. One thing to note, please take care that these are all the things that you can mention in your additional information section. Your languages, यार अगर हिंदी इंग्लिश आती है और कुछ नहीं आता तो it's okay to not write it. If you know a third language, then only write it. Your technical skills, extracurriculars, position of responsibility, conferences, awards, accolades, etc. All right. Moving to next format. So this is Samita. This is when you say table. So we
Okay.
have a tradition of writing about like class 10th 12th BCom and post grad, undergrad and post grad. That's not true for countries outside, so they kind of like high school and then undergrads. So that takes up space. So when we want to write about our education, it takes a lot of space in their format. So a table format is something you can absolutely adopt. What you do is उस टेबल के नीचे आपकी एकेडमिक अचीवमेंट्स आ जाएंगी.
All
Versus
right.
in this section, in this format, what I'm doing is जहां पर मेरा ये एजुकेशन है यहीं पर मैं की अचीवमेंट्स लिख रही हूँ, राइट?
Right.
Versus in this, what I'm doing is these are my achievements here.
Right. Okay.
Ma'am, that table format screen is not visible to us.
Hmm,
Is it not?
No, ma'am.
no,
Um,
you are.
One second. Let's share it again. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah. So here are my academic achievements under education section. So your experience comes here, organization name, projects and papers, additional information. Okay. There is one more format. I have changed the format. Can you see it?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
You
I
have
think.
to again reshare.
Okay, let's see. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Northwestern and institutes like that, they adopt this format. I'm not particularly fond of this. I go with Calibri like fonts. I don't like Times New Roman. If you also observe, it काफी cluttered लगता है. It's not easy on eyes. So, but this is kind of the standard. So that is why I'm sharing it. That it's worldwide, followed in like say 30% of the top institutes. Also, writing date in this format, it wastes a lot of space. So people who do not have a lot of things to share, they adopt this format क्योंकि उसमें bullets कम space में आते हैं. So if you do not have a lengthy resume, if you do not have a lot of things to write, then you can take up this format. If you go through the additional data format here, then this is all that you can write here. And this is something that I was writing the resume for, and this is how we put it. Okay. So the question was table format. Does that work? It absolutely
Your
works.
voice is
Especially,
breaking.
1 second. It should be better now. So the question was, should we be going ahead with table format? Yes, we can absolutely go ahead with table format, especially in our context. Any other question?
Hello. Good evening, ma'am. This is Raghav.
Yes, Ram.
So, ma'am, the question which I have is, do campus recruiters also run, like some of them, also run our resumes through various softwares?
Yes, they do. So it's a good idea to include keywords that are there in your job profile, which is जो key responsibilities, eligibility, technical skills जो companies share करती है आपके साथ, उसमें जो keywords होते हैं, वो it is important to mention that. So what the software essentially does is think logically. वो ये mention करना चाहता है कि जो हमें skills चाहिए क्या उस candidate में है, तो this is called skill extraction. So they extract skills out of your resume and match those with their requirement. So it's a good idea to customize your resume for every application based on the job description.
Okay, ma'am. And ma'am, are there any precautions to be taken, such as the font size or something like?
Yes, there are absolute guidelines. A 10.5 size is good. Calibri is a good font. 0.5 margin on all sides is a good idea. Otherwise, it always depends on your own personal story that we want to portray. Placement of sections, placement of contents, it's all customized for a person, but these are some standard things.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I'll have to stop myself here. We want to move to interview section. If we have time remaining, we'll take more resume related questions towards the end. Subrat, are you there?
Oh, yes, I'm here.
Oh, thank you. So your questions for your interviews, please shoot.
Okay, so thanks, Prapti. One thing I would like to share with everyone. One of my professors told once that power corrupts and PowerPoint corrupts absolutely. So that is where two of us come with different, approaches. It is important that in case of a resume, you have to follow a very structured format. It is not so the case when it is about your interview, because primarily what you need to understand is that interviews can go in any way. And honestly speaking, no one can control that which way it is going. All that we can do is that we have, the basic arms in our arsenal, and we are aware that when to use which arm. So I would not start sharing something on my end. All that I am inviting now is questions. The only bit which I will say over here is that, answer to all the questions in an interview is only one thing. And that one thing is, why should I be selected? Why should I be selected? Why should I be selected? The way the interviewer asks the question may differ. The way you give the answers, they will definitely differ. But at the end of the day, the motive remains the one and only: why I should be selected, why I should be selected, why I should be selected. And the interviewer also tests in different ways. Why should you be selected? Why should you be selected? Why should you be selected? So over to you for questions. And I was told that it's a discussion over tea. So here is a tea from my end. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Vanisha, go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Sir, I would like to have a certain answer to my question that was actually in my mind since the past a week. So that was whenever we are preparing ourselves for the PI specifically,
Right.
there is a certain JD for which we have applied. So, as per the JD, if the company requires somebody who is well communicated or well has good networking skills, which means as a business development associate or something that can be very much different from the research associate. So, sir, during that PI, what should be the the adherence towards the adaptability, because this PI requires you to portray yourself and you have to sell yourself to the company, because as you said, why should we hire you, why should we hire you, why should we hire you? So sir, I do have this in my mind कि कई बार ऐसा होता है कि आपके पास वो सारे स्किल सेट होते हैं, you are good in everything, but still you are not able to communicate that well to the interviewer. So how should we tackle that? Mainly, that was my question to you. And there was this super over article of yours which I read on Facebook, which said that something that is very much looked upon by every company or the one who is hiring you is the ability of being curious, the curiosity in you, the curiosity to learn more, to be able to get everything possible, मतलब ये भी सीखना चाहिए, वो भी सीखना चाहिए, this kind of mindset. So how do I in spite of being everything I am, get rid of the possibility of being rejected by the company?
You are done?
Yes, sir.
Right. So let me give you the first mantra. I'm giving you a chance again. Please tell me your question in exactly 2 sentences. The third sentence, and I don't hear.
Being able to express yourself, the skill set that you have, that is that will suffice.
This sentence is grammatically incorrect. Again, take 30 seconds and tell me what your question is in not more than 2 sentences.
Okay. So that I am able to communicate to the interviewer that the JD requires a certain skill set and I have that skill set.
No grammatically correct sentence starts with that. I'm giving you one more chance. Take another 30 seconds and redo that.
Okay.
You need not, again, please understand one thing before you again shoot it across, Manisha. There is a specific reason why I am asking you to do this. One, this is the biggest problem in interview for many of the kids. We keep on saying, and what happens to the interviewer? That interviewer has lost you already. So the first thing, if you need to take away from the Super Over workshop as far as interviews are concerned, it is to learn the art of being precise, being effective, and being grammatically correct. The second takeaway which you may like to go back from this workshop is, don't be in a hurry to give the answer. Because what is happening in all the 3 rounds that I have given you, what you are doing is that internally you are just waiting for my sentence to be over, and hardly it is over that you put it across. It is absolutely right to take 15-20 seconds. And you can say that to the interviewer as well, that can I take 15-20 seconds? That's fine. Don't be in a hurry to shoot. I hope I'm clear.
Yes, sir.
Now, your chance again.
How do I express myself in front of the interviewer regarding the skill set that I possess for the required JD?
That's a much well structured question now. All right.
I think I was nervous that time.
That's okay. It happens with best of us. My only point is you have raised a very valid point about how do I customize my answers towards the CV or towards the JD which has been shared with us. To customize your answers, I always suggest the kids that you need to spend time with yourself. Spend time with yourself. Write down 25, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 strength areas which you think which you have. Now, whenever there is an interview, just go through that master list and then pick that which components of that master list fit into the scheme of things the best. The problem with most of the kids is we never prepare a master list. Whenever an opportunity comes, at that point of time, we just try to figure out, acha isme kya chipka dun, acha isme kya chipka dun, acha isme kya chipka dun. That is my advice to you and through you to everyone. That first create the master list. That may take 2 days, 3 days, even 7 days. But that is what you need to do. Next question.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, in one of the interviews, I was asked that if not this company, then which company you would be applying. So the motive, I think that he was asking that whether I'm dedicated to that company or maybe if not this, I would try another company.
Now, Jatin, you are young in age, but let me tell you something on a lighter note. There are certain questions in life which are trick questions. And especially those who get into relationship and subsequently get married, they need to be very careful about trick questions and where not to fall prey to them. On one hand, you need to keep demonstrating your love and affection for the company. At the same time, on the other hand, you also need to tell them that, you know what, this is what your worth is. Are you getting my point? So I can tell you something. A lot of you, when you would have been appearing for various competitive exams, you'd have got calls from different, colleges, and then you selected. Suppose you have got a call from IIM A, B, and C, and you are there in a IIM Bangalore interview, and the guy tells you that, okay, what other calls do you have you got? You say, okay, I've got a call from Ahmedabad, Bangalore, and Calcutta. And they say, okay, what if you get into all three? Which one will you select? What is your pecking order? So over there, these are close competitors, and that is why you need to tell them that, you know what, I have heard from my seniors that Bangalore is a good college as far as strategy is concerned and international linkages is concerned. Therefore, in my scheme of things, Bangalore comes first. However, if at all, and what if you don't get into Bangalore? Okay, that will be really heartbreaking for me. But if I don't get into that, then perhaps I would like to go to Calcutta because analytics is another area I love. But suppose you have got a call from IIM Bangalore and IIM Indore. And the IIM Indore guy asks you that, okay, which other calls have you got? You say, I've got a call from IIM Bangalore as well. And then he asks you, okay, if you crack both IIM B and IIM Indore, where are you going to join? What will be your answer?
Bangalore.
Bangalore. So why do you think so? Because that is a better institute, over and out. Right? I hope I am making sense to you.
Yes, sir.
Whenever it is a close competition, you need to respect the other person. In an Indore interview, you will say, no, sir, I'm dedicated towards Indore. The interviewer will say, या तो झूठा है, या तो fraud है, और या तो निहायती बेवकूफ है. Either three cases, it does not work in your favor. I hope we are together on this. Right?
So, sir, while Yes.
Go ahead.
So, sir, while we were preparing for that, so our placement officer also told us how you should answer this question. So she said that either you should say that you would apply to the same company another time, or so this was the thing that she was saying, that you should ideally speak that either if you are totally dedicated to this company, so you can say that you should be applying in this company another time. So.
Jatin, I am loved and hated by, the people I interact with for one fact. I'm very honest and upfront. And, I can tell you from my experience, it helps in interview. Tell me something. Have you heard any instance where the same company comes back to campus twice for recruitment? कोई भी कंपनी किसी भी कैंपस में 2 बार आती है हायर करने या 1 बार आती है हायर करने?
So, but in coincidentally, this company which we were talking about, it has the second chance of coming after 6 months. So that was the case.
So then in that case, you're from what? You're from IIFM?
No, so Jaipur.
Achha, okay. No, again, if that is the case, you can say it will always remain, my first priority, and I would like to work in this company. However, and therefore I will look forward to a second chance. However, if this does not work out, see, why are they asking you? It is not only about how much you love them or how much you can, just butter them and boost their egos. They also ask you because they want to know what is your backup plan, and you must be clear about sharing that backup plan upfront. That's it. Yes, next question. Anyone? Shoot. No questions? Check. Hello. I am audible, I hope.
Sir, if we are asked that who do you think that the most competent person sitting outside this room, so how can we answer this question?
Sorry, come up again, please.
If we are asked that who do you think is the most competent person sitting outside this room?
My director.
Sir, among our competitors.
No. Please understand, I have just answered your question. You repeat what your question was.
Who do you think? Yeah.
Who do you think is the most competent person sitting outside this room?
Yes.
They never talked about, your batchmates only.
Okay.
That was your interpretation, that you thought it is about batchmates. And that is where, let me tell you, your sense of humor and your presence of mind always helps in an interview.
Okay, sir.
Right. Next question, anyone?
Subrat, there was a question about given that the interviews this time would be virtual, any things that few things that we should absolutely be taking care of apart from the internet connectivity, of course.
Yeah, so you took away my first part, that is internet connectivity should be fine. The second thing, let me tell you what you must be cautious, and this I am sharing based on my experience of almost 400 interviews in the last 45 days. For one of the largest private sector banks in the country, we are there, hiring partners across the campuses. And we have been doing interviews for the last 45 days. And I think going ahead, we will be doing another, I don't know, maybe 10,000 interviews, because 1,000 to 1,200 positions is what we have been given the mandate to fill. Another thing, let me caution you, the biggest mistake which anyone can do, and that includes me, the biggest mistake anyone can do is to think that the person in front of you is a fool. Now, why am I saying this? Kids have played this dirty trick with me. So I will ask a question. Okay, tell me, what is a reverse repo rate? Sorry, sir? Sir, what? So what is a reverse repo rate? So just 1 minute, sir. I am unable to hear, sir. Just 1 minute. And then, in the background, I can hear tuck, 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 happen. And then what they will do is they will open up quickly on Google. And they will say a reverse repo rate is the rate at which the central bank of the country lends to the commercial banks, and it is a monetary policy method. And my automatic next question is, what is the difference between monetary policy and fiscal policy? Sir, I said, listen, now no more okay, no more not audible, nothing. Are you getting my message which I'm trying to put across? The first and foremost thing is, please keep your integrity open. यार अगर आप गूगल कर सकते हो इंटरव्यू देते हुए, तो मैं भी गूगल कर सकता हूं ना, या सामने वाला भी गूगल कर सकता है ना इंटरव्यू लेते हुए. और जो वर्ड्स आप लिख के पढ़ रहे हो, जो लिखे हुए वर्ड्स आप पढ़ रहे हो, anyone can figure out it is all written and you are just reading that out. Trust me, your interview is over then and there. That is the second thing which I want to share. The third part which I will talk about is, how you dress up. It is important. I don't want to get into the debate of whether I should be clean shaven or whether I can keep a beard. Now beard is acceptable and all those things. Please, I don't want to get into that debate. My personal feel is, it is always better if you are clean shaven. If you are not clean shaven, at least the beard and all should be properly trimmed. Please remember, you are going for a corporate interview. You are not going for interview into JNU. With all due regards to JNU. So that is the third part which I am talking about. The fourth part which I will talk about is, at any point of time, if you feel that there may be some internet connectivity issues, be very clear about it right at the beginning. That sir or ma'am, at the very outset, I will thank you for giving this opportunity, but I must also share that today the connectivity is slightly disturbed. So I apologize in advance for any disruptions it may cause. And the others, they remain the same as far as a normal interview is concerned. Next question. Anyone?
Hello, Subrat.
Yeah, Devendra.
Yeah, Subrat. So, hi. So, the purpose of me joining today was because I am joining to seek information. One of my niece is in Jaipuria Institute in Indore. Okay, and she is into the curriculum of MBA in business communication. Okay, so she has passed out and she just has one internship as far as concerned. So when it comes to business communication, it is a lot of to do with the projection, the way you are, and your creative mindset, with the technical skills that you might have. So she faces the difficulty wherein they are asking her a question out of her scope related to the technical skills or the technical challenge she might have in her experience during the academics or during the internship. So she's not able to tackle that, and I've got to know that she faced this kind of questions. She has got to face this kind of questions twice, and she was not able to completely justify. So
Devendra, just for my double check purpose.
Okay.
Can you tell me what is the specialization of your niece?
Business communication.
So the first thing your niece needs to learn, and we share some equations, so I can be honest with you. The first thing your niece needs to learn is that she should be the one asking this question.
I understand.
Yeah, because if it is about business communication and the incumbent is shying away from communication, I am in serious doubts about what I should say.
No, she is not there in the meeting today, Subrat.
No problem.
Yeah, and that is the reason I wanted this opportunity to come up and see what help I could seek for her. So
I will tell you something.
Okay.
This was also not just because between two of us. This I also shared. That see, every behavior of ours gives some indication about our personality. Let's keep that in mind. My only point is that she needs to learn the art of being more proactive. Now,
Yes.
few things which I can share from my part is that, nowadays there are tremendous opportunity for creative writing, for
Yes.
content developer. Now she needs to latch upon those opportunities, and for a short while she should keep aside, that is there a stipend, is there not a stipend, what it is. It should be purely put from a learning perspective, and she should get more hands-on, because I will tell you the problem in business communication and corporate communication parts specializations is they are very high risk, high return. One grammatical mistake,
Mhm.
one copy paste error, and your entire credibility built over the years is just demolished. So that is why I'm saying that is why the organizations look forward for people who have some proven track record of practical work. What she needs to do is she needs to pick up those opportunities, prove her worth. And let me also tell you, the way today edtech, technology in education, is growing at a record pace. There is a huge dearth in the company for business communication, in the country for business communication professionals. So the
Yes.
future is
Yes.
bright, but these are the things she needs to work
Okay. Fine.
on. All right.
That makes sense. Yes. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Next question. Anyone? Go ahead.
I'm Jeremy.
Please go ahead.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, gap of 8 months before joining the job where I was doing. So in meantime, I was preparing, but I don't have anything to say. What are you doing between those 8 months? So how to tackle if any question comes to me asking what have you done between these?
Oh, no, hold on. You are an MBA student, you are working somewhere.
I am an MBA student currently. Before joining the college and the job where I was doing, there is a gap between 8 months. So if any question comes, how should I answer them?
The simple thing is that, uh, I was concerned about the future of my career, and I wanted to put my best foot forward. I was also aware that this probably is going to be the last degree of my life, and therefore I wanted to give my heart and soul into it. That was the reason that, though I was doing extremely well at the job and I had got so many appreciation from everyone around, I thought to concentrate on one thing at a hand, and that is why I decided to go for preparations on a full-fledged manner.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you,
Next
sir.
question. Thank you. Next question. Anyone? Any questions, anyone? We are good? Fine. So I will just take another, 2, 3, 4 minutes to share a couple of things which I consider are important. Most of the interviews start with the question of, tell me something about yourself. And so many times we get the request that, can you share, what should be there? Please understand, tell me something about yourself has to be an absolutely unique thing which is about you. I was listening when Prapti talked about, the career objective. Listen to me carefully, and you may replace the words, but 99.97% of the times the career objectives basically say what I am going to say right now. The career objective essentially written is to be a part of a growing organization and contributing to its further growth and success while charting out a successful and growing career for myself also. You may pick up the synonyms and antonyms, but essentially what you convey remains the same. Now, that is why we said that, these words mean nothing. Similarly, for, tell me something about yourself. If I take you people back when you people were going for your, MBA interviews, again, the typical answer, which I am, I have heard, I don't know, I've lost the count, which is, so you are an engineer, you want to go for an MBA. And second case, you are an engineer and then you have worked for some years and then you want to go for MBA. So, dear sir, dear ma'am, I'd like to share that after doing my engineering, I worked for 2 years in technical field. And having honed my technical skills, now I think I am ready to take on managerial responsibilities in my life. And that is why I am here to do my MBA from your prestigious institute. It is all bullshit, means nothing. Similarly, if I take you to your B-School job interviews and at least B-School job interviews I can talk about, again, it is about that, so my name is so-and-so, and I am born and brought up in Muradabad, Uttar Pradesh. I did my schooling from DPS Muradabad, and then for my graduation, I moved to Karpuri Devi College in Sonipat, Panipat, Haryana, wherever you want to say. And over there, my subject was so. My father is a government servant. My mother is a housewife. My hobbies are blah, 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 blah. The biggest mistake which you do is two. Mistake number one. These are all generic stuff. They don't give you any, brownie points for that. What is your father? How does it help your candidature? Tell me. How many companies say that, if your father is a government servant, you will get extra 5 marks? How many companies say that if your mother is working, you get another extra 2 marks? It does not work that way. So how does that help your candidature? Whether you have studied from DPS Muradabad or you have studied from DAV Chandigarh, how does it matter? Do you get extra points for that? No, you don't. And the other thing is that everyone does a graduation. That is how you come to an MBA. So what is unique about that? So for the first part, which I always ask the kids is, what is that unique thing which you are telling me about yourself, which grabs my attention? Because most of the times, if I have to take 40 interviews in a day or 50 interviews in a day, by 20th interview, I am also least interested in listening to what you are saying, unless and until you are saying something interesting, which catches my attention. Otherwise, I know that what, blah, 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 that is what you're going to say. I just lose it out. The second part, which I always say, is data and insight. Data does not give you marks. Insight gives you marks. I have done my education from this place. That's the data. What is the insight which you are trying to bring? I come from Muradabad, so I come from Bihar. How am I less than you? Tell me that. Or I come from Timbuktu. How does it matter anyway? Because what you are giving me is data. You're not giving me insight. Now, if I say that both my parents are academicians, my father is a professor and my mother has been a teacher. And since my childhood, they have taught me the lesson of hard work and cautioned me against taking shortcuts in life. Can you get the insight which I'm trying to put across? Whom have I told about? I have told about my parents or I have told about myself?
About my values.
About my values. Is that the insight which I bring on the table? Is it clear? And how have I got my values? I have got my values from my parents. So though I have talked about my parents, but they are just a, they are just a source to let me tell you something more about myself. I've been born and brought up in a joint family, which has taught me the virtue of, being a group person and being more sensitive to others and share the joy and happiness with everyone else. Again, my fact is, born and brought up in a joint family. My insight is, I am a team player. If you remain at fact and you think मैं तो कह दिया joint family, तुम इतने समझदार तो होगे कि तुम खुद ही पता कर लोगे कि क्या है, तो बच्चे इतना टाइम ना किसी के पास नहीं होता। जो कहना है अपनी डफली लोगों को खुद ही बजानी होती है, कोई आपके लिए ट्रम्पेट बजाने वाला नहीं है as far as the corporate world is concerned. Is it clear? My next point is, how many of you think you are a storyteller? Just do a show of hands. How many of you think you are a storyteller? Anyone who over here who thinks that he or she is a storyteller? No one thinks he or she is a storyteller? Then my only point to you is, you must learn the art of storytelling. Because interview is to a large extent an art of storytelling. If your story interests me, you are in. If your story is boring, bye. I hope what I'm saying makes sense to you.
Yes, sir.
The third bit which I would like to add is, whenever you are answering this question, tell me something about yourself. How much masala you are giving to the interviewer? What is masala? Masala is something which will make, your dish tastier. Something which gives, new ideas to the interviewer that, okay, these are the things I can talk about. I just go back, perhaps now I cannot say a few years, I go back a decade or so, and if I take up, some of the answers which I used to give. And what you also need to remember that this answer is individual to everyone. If I tell you my case, honestly speaking, I was a pathetic engineer. And even in my, farewell at engineering college, there were two friends. One was Shruti Aggarwal. Right now, she is working in Intel in US. And there was another friend, Nitin Kumar Singh. He coincidentally is also working in US. Both of them were awesome technical people. I said in my farewell that I owe my degree to Nitin Kumar Singh and Shruti Aggarwal, and obviously to all my professors who were kind enough to give me passing marks. So I was a pathetic engineer. I did very well in CAT. I got all the calls and everything. But I was very clear about one thing, that if I am asked questions related to technical things, it is gone over and out. I remember my IIM Calcutta interview. I went to the interview, 3 senior professors. One of them told me, okay, Subrat, tell me, you are a fresher. Tell me, which is your favorite subject? I said, my favorite subject is microprocessor. They said, which one? I said, 8085. They said, how many pins are there? I said, 40. How many input pins are there? I said, 13. And then what happens when the microprocessor is in idle state? I said, it is in an idle state. No, but what happens when it is in an idle state? I said, sorry, sir, I don't know. Come on, Subrat, you can take a guess, one professor said. Then I took a guess. After 2 minutes, the other professor said, Subrat, if you don't know, you can just say you don't know. I said, sir, I said 2 minutes ago that I don't know. Then they asked me many questions. And I'm saying many questions because I had no clue what they asked me. I came out of the interview. I called my dad. I said, Dad, I'm Calcutta में नहीं हुआ. तो उन्होंने कहा तुम्हारा तो आज ही इंटरव्यू था, हाथों हाथ रिजल्ट दे देता है. I said, हाँ, कुछ लोगों को हाथों हाथ दे देते हैं. Because I knew how I had, fared in that interview. Now that was a learning lesson for me. So when someone asked me, during my MBA interviews, tell me something about yourself, I would go ahead and say, and please bear me for this monologue, but that was my best bet. I said, good afternoon or good morning, everyone. I am Subrat. Mythologically, Subrat was the last king who performed Ashwamedh Yagya. And literally, Subrat means one born out of a good fast. I think it describes me the best. because while I aim for the sky, I never compromise on my moral and ethical values. The second thing, I've been born and brought up in a family of academicians, my father being a professor, my mother being a teacher, who have taught me the virtue of hard work and cautioned me against taking any shortcuts. I have done my schooling from Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith, Devghar, which again told me the virtue of being an all-rounder and not be myopic about only one aspect of my personality. I have done my summer internship from HCL Comnet, and my role models are Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. My hobby is reading and writing Hindi poetry, and I also have been a university level hockey player. Now tell me how much masala I have given them. And all this while I have conveniently not told that I'm an engineering student also. Did you get that point? What is the masala, Subrat? Who's your favorite poet? Ramdari Singh Dinkar. Can you recite a poem of Ramdari Singh Dinkar? Oh yes. Please go ahead. I will recite for, I can keep on reciting for 10 minutes. मेरे को क्या पता था 25 मिनट का इंटरव्यू 10 मिनट निकल गया तो 15 ही मिनट बचा ना. Can you recite a poem of your own? Oh yes, why not? I will recite a poem. I will keep on doing that for 5 minutes. That makes my task further easier. Okay, tell me, you said Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. What do you know about Netaji Subhash Chandra? What are your views about, what happened? What is the story of his death? And I will keep on blabbering. The government of India created 7 commissions. First was Chatterjee Commission, then it was Mukherjee Commission, then this commission, that commission. One of the commission had even faulted Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, blah, 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 blah. Why did I talk about my internship? I talked about my internship because internship में आप बता सकते हो इतना किया और इतना नहीं किया. If they ask you a question which you don't know, just say calmly that, okay, this part was not covered in my internship. Now, this was just an effort to play on my strengths. And I already told you, I started by saying that how I was screwed up in my IIM Calcutta interview. But the reason why I am sharing this with you is that each one of you will have your own area of strength. I categorically knew what was my area of strength. My area of strength was that I would have read perhaps 700 novels by the time I appeared in my interviews. I was very clear about what I am putting onto the table. And I also knew that what is that area which I would like to stay away from. So now you need to spend your time figuring out what are your areas of strength and how you will like to work upon them. And how would you like to present them. But then some of you also come to us with the same questions. Sir, you know what? कुछ है ही नहीं बताने को. तो क्या करें सर? तो ऐसे लोगों को बहुत सिंपल सा मेरा जवाब होता है कि आप कृपया काशी विश्वनाथ जाएं. वहां मंदिर में इंटरव्यू के पहले 48 घंटे आराधना करें, क्योंकि कुछ कर सकते हैं तो काशी विश्वनाथ ही कर सकते हैं. साधारण इंसान के वश की बात नहीं. You need to figure out what your strengths are. You need to figure out how you will play to those strengths. And you also need to be clear about how you will be, trying to defend your areas of improvement as much as possible. At this point of time, I will pause the final call for questions. If any, I will love to take.
So I had one question. Sorry, I joined it late. But I have this question that in my graduation, I have a pretty low graduation percentage. All that while since I have my graduation from an open school, like it's from correspondence, so I was working. So I have that experience with me, but of course I know that I'll have to face that question that why is it too low. So what could be the appropriate or the best way to describe it, sir?
Immediately after my 12th, I had to shoulder the responsibility of my family, and I had to contribute that in order to make the two ends meet. Because of that, I had no other choice but to go for a School of Open Learning course while I was also working at the same time. I'm aware that my score was not good, but the prime reason for that was me being involved in three things simultaneously. One, my studies, two, my job, and three, also taking care of my family. However, these hiccups did not deter me from trying for further excellence in my life. And that is why I decided to go for my post graduation. And my standing here in front of you, maybe with a low score, but I think is an important testimony of my commitment and willingness to learn.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other
Sir,
questions?
related with the Pushvinder's question, like I was doing CS along with BCom, so my BCom is also from SOL. So in that my score is low. So how to answer that?
Because I was parallelly pursuing. I was pursuing CS score in parallel. See, I will tell you something. No, it is written nowhere that in interview you must say all the fact only. कहानी बनाओ ना, लेकिन कहानी इतनी अच्छी बनाओ कि कहानी के तह तक जाओ कि यहाँ से ऐसे ऐसे मैं कहानी पूरी सोच के जा रही हूँ या जा रहा हूँ. This is what I will say. I did not know about the background of Pushvinder, यार. I'm sorry, but I just cooked up a story na, that I had to take care of my family and therefore I did that and all of that, blah, blah, blah. So just think of a story which suits. My only advice is whenever you have a year gap or something, please don't talk about that I was suffering from jaundice. Jaundice is too old. Think of something new which made you skip a year.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Good. So the last question is from me. What do you think Super Over is all about? Anyone who'd like to share his or her views about what you think Super Over is all about, if at all you have read anywhere about Super Over or if you have seen anything related to Super Over, I would love to hear that.
So for me, it's basically like some of the like questions or some of the uh, like facing the reality which will be going to face like in the interviews or while entering into the corporates, or how to prepare at the stage that is November December, that is the final stage of our MBA, that where actually we are going to sit for the final placements, and keeping in mind that companies of course would be quite sensitive while picking us up. So they would be definitely taking up the creamy layer. So we have to get ourselves into that creamy layer. So for that, we are
Okay,
getting a help for this.
great, Pushvinder. I agree. Great point. Anyone else?
So one thing it
Sir,
helped.
Yeah, Jatin, go. Go ahead.
So one thing it helped while scrolling down my LinkedIn page is that one of the commonly reflected mistakes that we usually make in the time of interviews and resumes. So that was well reflected when coming into the short form and concise that what should be followed and what should not be done.
Great. Anyone else? Go ahead.
sir, I have not missed any of your super over articles, at least on Facebook. I have tried not missing it because I go through your profile and then see what you have written under that heading. Apologies if I have missed some of your super over articles. But yeah, I think that it is all about demystifying the myths that are, surrounding everything related to B schools, placements, the CTC, that big B schools, that is the tier one institutes, are actually going towards like 28 lakh CTC. You have also shared on your super over articles regarding the CTC of one of your known, wherein you actually told us the reality behind the CTC. Also, yes. So this is all about facing the reality and how you need to adapt, overcome, think, learn, relearn everything. The best article that I found on the Super Over Facebook page was, Facebook profile of yours was regarding the curiosity, the skill of being curious. We all tend to be everything, like we are determined, we are hardworking, we are diligent, and everything. But none of us have actually said anything about curiosity, like how much we require to learn everything, like कि हाँ यार ये चीज है तो कैसे है, क्यों है, क्या है, क्या नहीं है. And also about the artificial intelligence, like it is not going to take away the jobs if you have the what was that word, if you have the,
If you don't work like robots.
yes, because they are all robots, and the companies don't need robots, क्योंकि वही नॉर्मल 9 to 5 रूटीन होता है, सुबह उठे, पहुंचे, वही काम किया, आ गए. तो रोबोटिक लाइफ होती है which is very monotonous. That was the thing that I found, which is, I think it will go along with me for many years to come.
Sure. Anyone else who has read or seen anything about Super Over anywhere?
It's mostly about preparing for interviews, and it consists of your personal interviews and resume making and all things that are needed to be very good in an interview, to present yourself in a better position.
Sure. So see, I will just take 2 minutes to wrap up the session and also tell you about Super Over. You know, Super Over is nothing but an effort on part of People Labs to help the kids. What we come with is that personally, if you ask me, I would have interacted with more than 35,000 students like yours over the past decade. And perhaps People Labs is one of the rarest organizations in this country which works with all stakeholders of management education. So we work with aspirants, we work with students, we work with B schools, we work with faculty, we work with recruiters, and we also work with corporates when they are training their own employees. So Devendra has left. Devendra was the gentleman who asked the question about his niece. I and Devendra met at, he works with a Fortune 500 company. I and Devendra met at a training which I was conducting for them at that Fortune 500 company. So what we realized after spending so much time that, the problem in Indian management education, and please don't take it otherwise, I have highest respect for all the stakeholders, that, the students miss that, a guide which helps them go through the entire process in a very, a non-involved way in the sense I'm talking about, that you are not blinded by your own perceptions, and you are not blinded by your own compulsions either. So generally a lot of advice which comes from people who have got some stake or other. We position ourselves uniquely as people who have seen it. B-School placements is very much like, the story of an elephant and 6 blind men. So whichever part of the elephant you touch, you talk about the same. So we bring with us the holistic perspective. That is what Super Over is. Obviously, the write-ups which you see are only one part of it. I'm also happy to share that, we are partnering with some of the best colleges in the country to help their kids prepare for their final campus placements. And this we have been doing for last 4 or 5 years. In this COVID time, one thing which struck us was, since most of the education is now happening online, do we also reach out to students in particular? That is why you see that Super Over series. I think in another 10 days or 7 days, we will also be announcing that entire Super Over program for students of B schools. So till now, we have been in the B2B space. We plan to move to B2C space. The entire bit which we bring with us, that when we talk about mock interviews, they will typically be taken by either one of us or someone who has, actually done at least a few hundred or 1,000 interviews in real life, people from corporate world, and those who are the best in the field. So that is the genesis, and that is the future direction of Super Over. I thought I will take this opportunity to share this with you all. However, the purpose of again conducting this workshop, it was not for promotion of Super Over. It was, we had been receiving so many queries, so many questions over various social media platforms that I thought I will give you, we will take this opportunity to invite all the questions at one place and help you get answers to that. But on a parting note, let me tell you the most interesting thing. The beauty is, someone told me, till the time it happens to you, it is just a statistics. But when it happens to you or your near and dear ones, it is a reality. The reason why I'm sharing this with all of you is that all of us know that, B schools in India, if I take all across all the levels, they do not see more than 60 to 70% placements. For many of us, even till now, it may remain, for many of you till now, it may remain a statistics. But the day it happens to you, that if you are, God forbid, if you are in that 20-25%, that becomes a reality and a harsh reality. My only advice to you is that over the next 3, 4, 5 months, whenever the campus placements at your B school kickstarts, please spend as much time as possible in getting that job. I'm sorry to say, but the markets are bad. This year is again going to be, one of the bad years in the history of MBA placements. The sequence is very simple: 2002, 2009, and 2020. Just check, compare the placements. That is going to be a bad season. All the more reason, I don't intend to scare you, but I just think it is my duty also to tell you of the reality. All the more reason why each one of you should give that extra bit and get that coveted job, because in April or May 2021, there will be only 3 kinds of students. One who have got a good job, one who have just got a job, and one who have not got a job. And in Rashmi Rathi, Ramdhari Singh Dinkar wrote that Karna said to Krishna, "Jab hua dhanurdhar main nami, sab hue mere hit ke kami, jab soot putra kehlata tha, main roj anadar pata tha." In this world, nothing succeeds like success, nothing fails like failure. Success has many fathers, failure is a bastard. On that note, I wish you all the best for your upcoming placement seasons. I and Prapti, both of us are there on LinkedIn at any point of time. If you feel that you need to reach out for anything to us, we'll be more than happy to help you in a little way, whichever we can. Thank you so much. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.